Hello, class. Greg here. Want to start by reviewing our intro paragraph instructions, and then we'll go over our discussion and look at each other's introduction paragraphs as well as the comments to learn from the feedback, to learn from each other's introductions. Again, hopefully this is helpful so you can see what other people are doing well and you can get some constructive feedback on what you can improve upon and what you're doing well in your intro as well. So we start with the idea of abstract, right? For this prompt, what is difficult to understand about the word, apart from concrete realities, apart from the denotation, the explicit or direct meaning, you're going to focus more on the connotation, the associated or secondary meanings of a word, right? So as we get back to our instructions and we consider this notion of the word abstract, difficult to understand, expressing a quality or characteristic apart from any specific object as justice, right? So again, begin with the denotation, but then go beyond it. That's why it's an extended definition essay. So back to the topic, right? You want to start out by considering the notion of the dialectic, looking at it from multiple perspectives, your issue, right? So once you've determined your issue, the question at issue, what do we learn about blank, your issue? What do we learn about identity by analyzing fiction? Right? What do we learn about your term by analyzing your choice of fiction, right? So the thesis should answer that question at issue. And remember, issue, question at issue, thesis, and support are all listed in our chapter in the book, right? So again, you want to structure, follow the guidelines in the book, use those guidelines to help you construct your intro paragraphs. Now, for the support, what elements of fiction, poetry, and or plays will the essay focus on while analyzing your fictional source to prove the thesis? Also, you might want to bring in your critical thinking strategies as well. What critical thinking concept terms are you going to focus on? Hidden assumptions, Occam's razor, logical fallacies, Rogerian strategy, right? See how we have these all listed down here in my kind of sample idea, and use this checklist to help you recognize if you're completing your introduction paragraph according to these four guidelines. So on to the intros, right? Again, remember, abstract, what's difficult to understand. What do we learn about your issue by analyzing your fiction? So let's keep that in mind here. First off, I like how it starts with a question. Nice job, Sua. Nice list here, such. Now you're going to want to add such as, and again, these are drafts, so that's the whole point. Such as our race, ethnicity, and age. I like how you're using the parallelism, listing the examples, and being specific. See, good job here. Such as our opinions, beliefs, and the decisions we make. Look at how she's got nice parallelism. Everything's plural. Love how you're looking at decisions. It can be a bad thing. Through Desiree's unknown heritage, Hamlet's emotional and arrogant decisions, and Macbeth's dependence on his wife, we can see that a change in one identity can change drastically and result in negative effects. Yes. Now, maybe you could just go a little bit further and result in negative effects when logos is not applied to the decision-making process, when characters let their irrational emotions fuel their decision-making process. Just kind of go a little bit beyond in that sentence, but it's a great start. This is awesome. So again, maybe just add and result in negative effects when critical thinking strategies are not followed, when philosophical counseling is not applied, things like that. But this is an awesome start. Great job. Nice comments, Morgan. Yep. So try to utilize synonyms. Oh, yeah, thank you. This is exactly the kind of feedback we want to be giving. Great job, Morgan. All right. Life is precious. Nice. Yep. Okay. So I think this intro could be more specific with regard to the issue that you're going to focus on. Remember, the issue has to come from the abstract term from step 1 on page 117. So make sure you're choosing a term from the list, right? It's a very interesting topic, but start with the questions, right? And what aspect, precious life, are you going to look at it through identity or maturity, and that people should appreciate life? Again, a lot of these topics are abstract because you can approach them from different ways. So what you're going to want to do is try to link it to one of the terms from the list on page 117 so that it can be more specific. And furthermore, make sure that you present your fictional source, right? And the thesis answers the question, what do we learn about what? Life, life's preciousness. So I would almost think maybe it could be related to maturity or identity, and that people need to recognize how fleeting life can be in some ways. So it's kind of a carpe diem idea. So nice feedback, Sua, as well. Okay, depression. Now, if this is a definition, I like that you're starting with it. Just make sure if you got those words from somewhere else, you put quotes around it and then cite the definition number, just like you would cite a paragraph or a line number. Suffered from, well, demonstrating how some of the characters show us that they portrayed symptoms. Okay, now, again, show that they portrayed symptoms of depression to make your point about depression. What do we learn about depression by analyzing Hamlet? Do we learn how critical thinking skills could be used to help the characters work through them? Remember, when Hamlet's thinking logically in Acts 1, 2, in the beginning of Act 3, he's not being duplicitous. He's trying to get proof. Yes, he's sad, but he's trying to work through it, right? By trying to prove if the ghost is telling him the truth, he's working through, right, his depression in some ways logically. But then once he starts killing people and letting his hubris and his hidden assumptions fuel his actions, his depression has a negative effect on him. Ophelia, essentially, she commits suicide. Is she pregnant? Why is her depression affecting her in such a way? Could she have used critical thinking skills? Again, we all agree that depression is sadness. That's a denotation of the term. But what's abstract about it? The secondary meaning, in addition to its explicit, how to deal with it. An additional meaning for depression would be how going beyond just what it is and focusing on, in some ways, possible ways to work through it. And I think the critical thinking strategies and philosophical counseling, again, from our textbook that the paper topics come from, would be an excellent way to help expand this introduction paragraph to include the critical thinking strategies and the elements of fiction that you're going to focus on, right? Just like for this one, you want to include the fiction, the critical thinking strategies, the elements of fiction, and the issue, right? This one here, nicely done, right? Decisions, you're looking at character, unknown heritage, in some ways, plot and character of Desiree from Desiree's Baby, Macbeth's dependence, character. So again, when we're presenting those elements of fiction, you don't always have to say plot, character, setting, style, theme. You can use synonyms. You could say Macbeth's dependence. Obviously, you're looking at character. Desiree's unknown heritage. You're looking at character and plot. Now, you can list out those elements of fiction if you want to. So you have options, especially as we're moving forward with essay 3 here, to present your ideas with synonyms as opposed to using the direct, right, literal words from the textbook. Sue, nice comment again. You could state that in your thesis. Exactly. Great topic, right? Nice positive feedback. Tommy, excellent job on your intro, right? Defined as the condition used of a habit. Again, just make sure you put that in quotes and you cite the dictionary definition of the term. The Shining. Ooh, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That is me alluding to it for those of you who haven't read or watched it. June reverts to his abusive behavior, again, highlighting the connection between alcoholism and abuse. Yes, when alcohol is not consumed logically, right? And people let their hubris, their arrogance, they drink a lot, even though they know it's going to have negative effects, right? Their hidden assumptions. Well, maybe this time it'll be different, right? Again, could one use philosophical counseling and critical thinking skills to better deal with addictions, to better deal with alcoholism? Absolutely. I'll be providing examples of how alcohol can lead to violent and aggressive behavior, can have long-term health drawbacks. Again, yes, use all of that as facts to support your claim that people need to use critical thinking skills to better understand how to overcome addictions such as alcoholism. Hopefully everybody's feeling confident, right? The occurrence of addiction is based on genetic, environmental, psychological, spiritual, emotional, and physical factors. Yes, and you can look at how all those factors influence Jack's decision-making process and how he could have better used critical thinking strategies and skills to work through his addiction. Yep, nice feedback. And Tommy, she's right. This is really smooth. Well done. I just wanted to also point out, so here you'd say is based on the following colon. Just remember, when you want to use a colon to set off a list, it's got to come after a complete sentence. Great ideas, though. I love this intro. Very well done. And Morgan, nice replies. Okay. Yes, nice background. The Shining and its sequel, Dr. Sleep. I will discuss the plot, character, point of view, setting, theme, and symbolism within these sources to describe the causes and harmful effects within addiction. Nicely done. Well done, John. Again, though, let's make sure we add how critical thinking can help the characters better work through their addictions. Again, philosophical counseling, critical thinking skills, Rogerian strategy, dialectical thinking, logos, as opposed to illogical assumptions, illogical emotional appeals, things of that nature. Yep, some longer sentences, combining and condensing. Good point. So you know what you can do, John? Review the punctuation module, right? Remember, I posted that weeks ago, right? When you were turning in essay 1 and working on essay 2. So if I directed people to the comma rules, the semicolon rules, you can link your sentences with commas and coordinating conjunctions. You can link your sentences with semicolons, and that's a good way to create longer sentences by combining. Nice feedback. Okay, yeah, envy your verbosity, excuse me, sorry about that. Josh, nicely done. Yeah, good stuff, good feedback, right? Yeah, nice ideas to help, right? Good positive feedback. Excellent, thank you. Yep. Nice. We've got nice dialogue going on here. Good job, people. Morgan, ooh, I like how you brought the Jung quote in to start. Now just make sure you cite it here, right? You put the page or paragraph number of the source you got it from. Great use of the semicolon. Put Hamlet in italics because you mean the play. If you're just mentioning the character, you don't have to put it in italics, but when you mention the play, put it in italics. Through the utilization of symbolism, the unfolding plot, and the concept of hidden assumptions. Yes. Hamlet's conscious and mind will tell the story of torture and why it's more than just a physical act. Yes, psychological torture, going beyond just the dictionary definition of physical torture. Really well done. I love how you present the ideas in a clear and logical manner. Nice feedback, John. Nice feedback, Jessica. Nice feedback, Tommy. Right? Yes. Now, again, just cite this quote. Good job bringing in these ideas with regard to alcoholism. Yep. Okay, so this is a really good background on your subject and topic, but you need to clearly list out which fictional source or sources you're going to focus on, how you're going to analyze critical thinking skills, right? How the characters could have used those skills to better understand your extended definition of addiction and specifically alcoholism. So remember, people, you have to focus on the fiction. Your thesis needs to answer the question, what do we learn about your issue, alcoholism or addiction, by analyzing blank, your fictional sources. So poems, stories, plays where characters drink or drink excessively, or where alcohol is mentioned, and how critical thinking skills can better help understanding how to overcome the negative aspects of that addiction, right? Yep, good feedback, everybody. In the interest of time, let's cruise down here. Progress, yeah, normally it's a good thing, but what do characters do when they make progress? Remember, Hamlet makes progress, but it leads him to kill innocent people. So again, if one makes progress and one learns information, does one use that information logically, or does one let one's hubris and arrogance and hidden assumptions and illogical emotional desires to, right, uh, to what? Defy that logic, and then the progress has a negative effect. Glengarry again, Ross. Okay, so I think good job mentioning the sauce, but what do the source, right? Group of sales. Yep, any means necessary. Yes. So I think that right down here, you do a good job of letting the reader know your fiction. Just mention the elements of fiction that you're going to analyze, as well as the possible critical thinking strategy. Again, The Shining, capitalize the S, good background on here. I like how you're looking at the psychological aspects of identity to better analyze the topic of addiction. Again, yes, but what's the point you're going to make? So a lot of your intros are saying, we'll learn about this. Now, what will we learn about? So it's not just what issue are we going to learn about? What are we going to learn about the issue? And most of the time, you can explain how, by understanding critical thinking skills and using those strategies, you can better evaluate student learning outcome and analyze, right, both the decision-making process of your sources, right, from fiction, and what your secondary sources are saying about the issue and the characters, to synthesize that together to make your extended definition essay an academic argument that is an analysis of fiction. Right? Again, alcoholism, good job bringing The Shining. Macbeth, ooh, dependence. Ooh, this is awesome, Sydney. Nicely done. By demonstrating the use of hubris, pathos, hidden assumptions, refutation, and concession, the reader is able to correlate alcoholism to the true identity of people. Yes, Sydney. Yes, Sydney. Yes, Sydney. Thank you. Everybody get what I'm saying? It's kind of nice how we built up to finally everything that I've been saying is emphasized in this introduction. So just lowercase the r and put a comma here, because I am a persnickety English professor when it comes to punctuation and format. Right, it's a list of 3 or more. Just add a comma here, lowercase the r. Great job, Sydney. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Josh, nicely done as well. This idea of maturity, great job setting up the definition and citing it, right? Great job citing it again. Nice. I like how you look at the words specifically. I like how you emphasize critical thinking. Supported by, right, to refine our further exploration of related terms. Now here, great use of the semicolon for the pause, but you got to make the second part as a complete sentence. This will be supported by a character analysis of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. You could add this will be or here, or you could turn that semicolon into a comma if you just want to keep this dependent clause supported by a character analysis of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Great job bringing in the issue. Great job presenting the critical thinking ideas. Great job mentioning the fictional source and the fact that you're going to analyze the element of character. Defeat, normally a negative thing. The psychology of defeat, right? Now, make sure you cite this quote if you're using any of Maxwell's words. Again, put their words, quotation marks around their words, and cite the paragraph or page number. Again, you do a nice job bringing in the issue and mentioning a perspective of how you're going to go beyond it abstractly, but you have to include your fictional sources as well as your elements of fiction and critical thinking strategies that you're going to examine. Ooh, Taxi Driver and Joker, Hobbesian stories. Oh, this is great. This is great. And remember, I like to call people by the acronym of their names. Great job, DD. Great job. This is a really well-developed paragraph, right? Now make sure you put the dictionary definition in quotes inside it. The high window is going to be in italics because it's a book title. So again, a couple format things to illustrate, most of it to illustrate the nobility and heroism that can exist in a selfish and gray society. Ooh, yes. Ultimately, there is more important to win the small battles than the high and moral ones. Ultimately, Chandler believes that heroism doesn't necessarily revolve around the conclusion or the end result. The heroes should be unwavering and unfazed in their nobility and honor. And how can they use critical thinking skills to better be unwavering and unfazed in their nobility and honor? Great job on that intro as well. People, nicely done. So again, people, remember that we want to not only give each other feedback. So we can kind of applaud what everybody's doing well, but also understand what people are doing well so that we can do it too if our intro needs more development. That's the whole point of this. So keep up the great work with your discussions and responses. Jessica, nicely done. Take two, right? Catchy. Might, yeah, might have a little fun with that in your title. Yep. Identity crisis, oh yeah, Jane Austen, right? And excellent, excellent. False maturity and identity crisis they experience, right? By doing what? By examining perhaps how their hidden assumptions and their illogical emotional appeals, right, overtake their use of logos and Rogerian strategy and dialectical thinking and Occam's razor. So thanks for watching, listening. Keep up the good work. I hope this was helpful. And as always, please call, message, Zoom during office hours. Remember, the office hours are listed on the homepage. I have specific times set aside for each section. So make sure to catch up with me during those time windows, or text me or call me, and we can either set up a Zoom at a time that works for you, or we could FaceTime, whatever medium of communication you prefer. Until next time, keep up the great work, write with confidence, right? I'm very impressed by lots of the good things that everybody's doing in these intros. So let me know if you have any questions.